Hey guys, I'm SJ, welcome to my channel if you're new, or hi. My name's SJ, I'm a mum of 3 and my little girl Evelina is actually going to be 1 in a couple of days time. And I've been thinking a lot back over the year, of course. So much has happened, and the one thing that I've never really talked about very much here on my channel was the fact that I live streamed her labour on Facebook. Pretty much just saying that sounds so bonkers. I know you'll be thinking, why would anyone do that? What a big show off. Did she really show everything? What did her family think? Was that a good idea? Was that a bad idea? And I just wanted to talk really about the truth behind my live labour and answer all those questions. And yeah, a year ago, just before Christmas 2016, I went into labour and chose to share that experience live on Facebook. Not on my own personal Facebook, it was on Channel Mum's Facebook page. So Channel Mum, if you don't know, it's an online mum village for anyone going through motherhood at the moment. It is such a positive place. It's been life-changing for me, life-changing, and I say that hand on heart, to be a part of Channel Mum. I've joined Channel Mum from the very beginning, having never done anything like this before, never vlogged, never blogged, never had an Instagram or anything. And I joined as one of their new voices just to talk about motherhood, because I'm so passionate about motherhood. And I just found instantly my people, because everyone wanted to talk about motherhood, everyone wanted to help each other out, everyone was interested as much as I was in everything and all these experiences we were going through, and how much experience I had behind me as a mum of 2 already that I could pass on, I realised, but also that I could kind of just be a part of something, a movement really around saying to all mothers everywhere, you are not alone. Nobody is the first person to go through this. You know, it might be that they did it 10 years ago and they live in New Zealand and you live in London, this happened yesterday, but women can talk to each other about anything, and motherhood cuts through all the crap, go straight for the jugular. So I've been used to being a part of this very honest, very empowering and very open group of women for so long that when I got pregnant with my 3rd baby, I shared a lot of that on my YouTube channel, which was just starting out. You know, it wasn't a big YouTube channel at all. And we were doing a lot of Facebook Lives. Facebook Live was a brand new thing in 2016 and I absolutely love it. Just ahead of my labour, my really good friend Emily Norris, who's also part of Channel Mum team, she decided to do a Channel Mum live Facebook labour. She was the first ever Facebook live labour. I remember so vividly, sat at home, pregnant, making my son's birthday cake, he was turning 3 I guess, and watching her labour and just leaving like that, watching it, you know, she was so quick, it only took an hour or something. And I loved the spirit and camaraderie that we managed to surround her with, and really creating that village. You know, like in the olden days, you'd have been giving birth in a hut with all the women from your tribe and your village there to support you, to hold your hand and give you that, you know, just give you that strength that you can absorb from other women, I think. And that's what we'd given Emily. So quite soon after, maybe 2 months after it was my turn, what I didn't expect was that it was going to end up being the #1 story on Daily Mail Online, which is the biggest tabloid online newspaper here in the UK, that it would go on, I would be on TV twice talking about it. I had a double page spread in a huge national magazine about it. The headlines went all around the world. It's had around 1 million views, and the headlines were in Sweden, where my husband's family from, in New Zealand, in South America. It literally, I guess, went viral, I guess you would say. It got nominated for an award, Digital Moment of the Year or something. Like, I genuinely didn't expect any of that. If somebody had told me that was going to happen, would I have gone ahead with it? I don't know. I just didn't expect any of that to be happening. And you can imagine when you've just had a new baby and that happens in the first day or 2 of having a baby, it's overwhelming, really overwhelming. And it didn't really burst my bubble. I wouldn't let it in. My bubble just stayed my bubble, and I remember seeing it. I was starting to get tons of messages, all from people like coming out of the woodwork who I hadn't spoken to in so many years, who knew nothing about me doing vlogging, just suddenly seeing, why the hell has SJ just given birth live on Facebook? Like, it seems so unlike you. And actually one of my uni friends, I saw her maybe 6 months later, and she was like, oh God, I thought you must have changed so much to do that. And I realised she didn't understand what it was or why I had done it. It was actually nothing to do with attention and showing off and getting headlines. It was pretty much the opposite of that. So I spoke to Channel Mum and was saying, you know, they were like, what do you want to do around when you have your baby? And they said Evelina, but obviously I didn't know if I was having Evelina then. I was like, I don't want to do that full live labour like Emily had done. I'd spoken to my husband about it and we didn't really fancy that. But I'm really excited to come on live and say the baby's here and show the baby. Is it a son or is it a daughter? They were like, that sounds great. We'd really enjoy that. They're so lovely. They're so authentic. Nothing you see on Channel Mum is ever anything other than, is this what you want? Is this going to be helpful? You know, nothing sensationalist. They said, well, if you have time, maybe hop on just at the beginning just to say that you're in labour so people know it's happening. And I was like, yeah, I will if I've got time, but third baby, it's going to go like this. It's going to be so quick. Finn was born within like 3 hours, so he's my second. As it happened, my waters broke at home before contractions. Totally different experience for me. I was scared actually because there was a bit of blood in the waters. I remember my waters breaking, we went down to the hospital and I did actually text Channel Mum and I was like, guess what, it's happening, it's early, can't believe it. And they were like, oh, it's so exciting, if you know, when you get a chance, pop on and say it's happening if you get time, but just good luck and everything. So I got to the hospital, being monitored, water soaking everywhere. We were there for quite a while. Once I knew that everything was okay, I was being monitored, I was comfortable in the bed, I knew things were fine. I said to my husband, well, I'm just going to do a little live update from here and just tell people that I'm in labour. Mainly, you know, for me, it's just talking to all the people I know that I now consider as friends online. So I went on live and I was like, hey guys, it's happening, my waters have gone. And yeah, I was so calm, relaxed in the hospital. And everyone I knew was there, like, oh my goodness, obviously all our family knew by this point what was happening. Then I went home that evening because nothing was progressing. I was getting so many messages on that live saying like, oh, I can't believe it, the baby's gonna be here any minute. So when I got home, I thought I should probably just pop on so people aren't literally like thinking about me all night, and said, look, I'm home guys, I'm gonna sleep, nothing's gonna be happening tonight. Did that one. And when you're talking live on Facebook, you don't really notice the numbers, views. I wasn't really looking at that, you know, I was just talking as if I'm talking to my friends, who I was imagining was going to watch this. The online community of mums from Channel Mum, who I love and I know support me. But gradually it had obviously gone outside of that. You know, there's not a million people watching my Channel Mum vlogs. It just boomed and people were interested. They were like, my goodness, this woman is sharing her labour updates live. And people started to gradually join in. And then it was time to go to the hospital. The contractions were coming every 5 minutes. They were painful by that point. I just did like a 30-second clip just as I was walking to hospital. And that's the one when I'm really emotional. And then nothing in the hospital, you know, I was very respectful of the fact that the midwives were there, they had a job to do. I was very nervous, I was scared. You know, it was my third baby, I guess maybe I knew what to expect. I could tell something was going wrong. She was back to back. It was a very tough delivery, the hardest of all of my children. And then she came out and they said, you got a little girl, and it was just incredible after 2 boys. Just such a moment, and I loved her so much. She was perfect. And the live labour was obviously the last thing on my mind during these moments. It was just us. Just me and her really. I don't remember anyone else, sorry. I'm emotional when you talk about your labour. Yeah, got home and was so beyond excited. When you have a baby, you do want to tell the world, and it was such a pleasure to sit down and announce that I'd had a daughter. And that time I noticed, wow, a lot of people watched that. Like, I could see the live number of people watching it, and I can't remember what it was, but it was a lot, a few thousand, and I was like, oh, that's odd. There was a question around whether I could do some media interviews kind of afterwards. It's like, no way, Evelina's not eating properly, my stitches got infected, like, you know what it's like. No, I can't, but I wrote a little kind of, there were some questions came through on an email which I answered. That went off as a press release, which I knew about. Thought, same as Emily's, it will get a little bit of, you know, digital press, but it went massive because my first feeling was panic, was embarrassment. There's my face on the Daily Mail. That's crazy. I hadn't told anybody. Like, my best friend, she saw it in the newspaper. There was a big page spread. She sat next to her dad on the sofa. Her dad's reading the Daily Mail and she was like, is that Sarah Jane? And this was my biggest regret. I hadn't expected it to go so far, so I hadn't prepared my friends and my family enough, particularly my granny. So my granny is 97, so she was 96 last year, and somebody in her like supported accommodation comes up to her with the Daily Mail she's doing her laundry or something, because she's very independent, showed it to her and was like, isn't this your granddaughter? And my granny's just, you know, confronted with this totally out of the blue. Sounds horrific because it's a headline, you know, gives birth live on Facebook. So I felt very bad, and I was too scared to ring her for a few days because she was so upset about it. She was very angry. And we got this opportunity to talk more about it on the Lorraine TV show. We're interested in doing a feature with my granny. 3 generations talking about the differences. Me obviously being this example of this uber extreme modern mum, Facebook streaming her labour, and my granny being this 97-year-old very unhappy about it, and my mum in the middle. So we did. My granny was so excited to be on TV. Like, she's 97. She just, you know, it was like a unbelievable experience for her to be on TV. She was so, they went to her, like her supported accommodations, everyone in got to see her on TV and get to have camera crew there. Like, every single person living in there was just so excited. It turned what was probably the biggest regret about the experience into literally the biggest highlight of my year, apart from actually having Evelina. Since I've done the live labour, many of the Channel Mum team have, and what it's built up is this wonderful story of the differences in labours and how you can't be prepared, and how there's no such thing as a typical labour, but every single labour is positive. You know, it might be an emergency C-section, it might be a back-to-back delivery, it might be a home birth, that we all have choices, and that sometimes those choices don't go to plan, and how we adapt with them. And it's such a wealth of information that, you know, so there's so much positive that's come out of it. It wasn't for fame, it wasn't for views, it wasn't for subscribers. I don't think I got hardly any new subscribers from doing it. You know, it was all for the genuine reasons that I went into doing it, which was that the support I got during labour was phenomenal. So having all those messages from women, I read every single one. It just made me feel like I was standing with an army at my tough times, and it made me be strong in my labour. The fact that I've managed to make people feel better about labour is amazing, and the fact that the Channel Mum community just grows and keeps growing and keeps getting better and keeps supporting more and more women in more and more ways is just amazing. Like, there's now online support groups, there's private Facebook groups, you can go and talk about absolutely anything. And I like to think that the movement of the live labours just showed how you can bare your soul and you can be as open as you like, and you're not going to get judged. We're going to surround people with love and support in their hard times, and that's what it kind of kicked off, I guess. So yeah, I'd be interested to know what you think. Maybe. No, I am interested to know what you think. Thanks so much for listening. Evelina is 1 in a couple of days, and so I will be celebrating that obviously here on my channel. I would love you to follow us, give this a thumbs up if you found it interesting, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.